Hi, Patrick Chandler at ptlarts.com. I paint portraits, landscapes, seascapes. I tend to be around the sea. I've always lived by the sea. That's what I like to do. Watercolours, which is quite a new product that I'm doing, which I'll talk about in a bit. So, selling art online, very real products are a business. So when we have got ourselves a plan and some core values to return to as we're beginning to form a plan of where we're going to be in 3 to 5 years, we can start to get our work together. I've talked about this a few times, but just I can never talk about it enough because it sort of cements it in my own mind. So for you, it's quite a good idea to talk with your friends about your plans and your ideas, because it just builds this foundation that you can build on. To sell artwork, we need to provide something that people are going to want. For me, I live in Brighton. When I started painting and people bought my work, I just had a conversation to find out why they bought the work. I definitely don't think I was thorough enough, and I'm still probably not. I can do a lot more. I'm hoping as I get more able to work online that I'll be able to have it's feedback forms that aren't too extensive but give me the information that I need. But in Brighton, for example, locally here, there's a lot of small houses, so I don't want to do really big paintings. In fact, a lot of the paintings I've got are a bit too big to go into people's houses, but that's okay. It's like a learning curve. So think about your immediate customers. Of course, we all want to get some sort of arrangement with a hotel chain or whatever, but it's about having this broad range of different products, isn't it? In fact, another thing that people want, another thing that people really want is a story attached to the piece of work that they're buying. I mean, it's even greater when they've actually met the person who painted it and got some sort of story. So my favourite experience was quite early on when I started. I had this idea to paint unrecovered objects. I found an old discarded painting that was mounted on a piece of board in the street. I chose to paint a picture on the board. This board had 2 metal rings punched into it with eyelets. I presumed this was so the painting could be hung up. It never occurred to me that this would become one of my most liked paintings. Anyway, I had prints because I didn't think I'd be able to sell the painting because of these little rings. 2 customers came in to an exhibition, one of the first exhibitions that I held, and insisted they wanted to buy the original. They saw the prints, they really liked the picture, and they wanted to buy the original. And I said, so I went and got it. I was quite excited. I was so excited, in fact, and I'd had so much going on that I completely forgot about these metal rings. And when I showed it to them in the exhibition, I brought it back to the exhibition, and they came the next day. I had this exhibition for a couple of weeks, and one of them discovered these metal rings and was like, well, they didn't really like the metal rings. So I said, okay, I'll sort it. They went away and I thought, and then I thought, well, if I can't, I can but try. But I went to my studio and amazingly, I managed to fill these holes successfully and paint over them, so they weren't massive holes. And I did a fantastic job. It was incredible. I wouldn't have, I had those 2 metal rings in there for quite a while, and I just kept it out of sight, thinking that I can sell the prints, which I have done. I sold quite a few prints. Anyway, they were amazed. They've got a wonderful story. they've become really good friends, and in fact bought 2 more paintings, and I expect to get another commission that they want me to do a portrait of both of them. It's like a man and wife from Italy, a portrait of them, hopefully this year as a commission. I always say hopefully, because there's always the other point about buying art is, and where it's sort of different from many things, you know, if there's like a priority list and you have a load of problems or money issues, then the thing that's going to go to the bottom of the pile is that painting that you dreamed of having, isn't it? That's the truth. That's the reality of what we're working in. So it's just the way it is. That's what we're working with. So it's a great story. Anyhow, to products. So yes, like I said, oil painting. So the top of my range is like the ones hanging on the wall. There's another one here. As you see, it's quite big. It's a big piece. I've actually stretched this canvas myself onto stretcher bars that I've bought myself. I primed it myself and obviously painted it myself. So by doing all of those things, it's kept down my overheads. In as well, by making up the canvases myself and stretching them and priming, doing all of that work. Yes, it's work, and actually I want to do it because it helps me get really involved with the painting right from the word go, and help me understand more about what I'm doing. But also it keeps the overheads down. So like I've always tried right from the beginning to keep the overheads as low as possible. And of course, like going online, you know, if you don't like buy into the first thing that you come across and you wait for the right information, you can actually set yourself up online for a reasonable amount of money. You don't have to pay loads and loads of money. And of course, it's going to take time to get to that point where we consider how we're going to use these different platforms to enable people to build a relationship with us. And this trust and these stories and these relationships take time, don't they? So I've started a project on watercolours as well, which are all off at the printers. So again, it's something that I can do with fairly low overheads. It means it doesn't take me as long to paint as it takes to do like my oil paintings, and I can produce them fairly quickly. And if one isn't working, it doesn't work. That's fine. Let's move on and do another one. So it's not a case of hovering around. It's like thinking about the images that are going to work online, what images are going to be able to sort of broaden your merchandise, so that you can offer something at the lower end of the financial cost market and also size market. So like what I realize is that it's really useful having some larger pieces so that you can use any exhibition space and have an impact and have a very different sizes of work, so you can build up. You can do all sorts of different venues. In fact, I've done 2 or 3 at the same time with different size paintings. So like the watercolours, I've also taught myself to do framing and mount boards as well, so that I can do that work myself, which keeps down my overheads. So that as much as possible, when you make a sale, most of it is like it's a profit margin, isn't it? You increase that possible, but not only that, it means that you can. So the other thing is to put a price on it where you can come down, not the other way around. I mean, I was told that quite early on, and actually it just makes you feel more confident and comfortable. You know, if somebody's really, really interested in buying your painting, then they'll just pay you the money that you put on it. Now, if they just really interested, but they haven't got enough money, but they need some time to pay for it, then you can keep them on board. You keep them on board. Say, well, I've still got the painting. Yeah, I'm sure we can pay for it over a period of time, etc., etc. So the ball's in your court, really. But if you down price what you're doing, you've got nowhere to go. You can't go any lower, and you can't suddenly put it up. So keep putting those prices high up, and then that gives you online as well, which I haven't really capitalized on yet. But advertising wise, it means that you can have coupons, you can have discounts, you can have, and then there's times obviously where you're going to undersell, but most of the time it's going to be around, there's going to be a cut off. And then of course, the more that you sell, the more that you can gradually put the prices up. So it's about having a broad range of products. It's about having these relationships with people and building up these stories. It's about that building content on your website. It's about having a good, robust website to work on. So I use WordPress with Thrive Themes, and it works incredibly well. And at some point, I'll talk about exactly what I do there. So Thrive Themes is a fantastic set of stuff that works with WordPress. Maybe you're with WordPress already, but I would definitely go down that route because it's good. It's good, if not better, as anything else. And also, you're not buying into somebody else's platform, and you're not paying somebody else to do it. You can actually do it yourself. And you can have like a shop on WordPress. I use WooCommerce. It's absolutely fine to start with. And you can build on add-ons as you start to expand, which I'm yet to do anyway. So as I do find out all of these things, I want to share it really. I've not any intention of trying to make money. I just want to share the experience of getting your art online, and so that you can join the journey with me. So thank you very much. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments, helpful comments, or would be really useful, so I can sort of expand the whole conversation, expand what videos I can make to help me and help you. So thank you.